So, good morning. Good morning. Our topic for today is about class, taxonomic classification of parasites with medical and public health importance. Our objectives are as follows: to create a classification tree for common parasites, to describe the common features of each taxonomic classification, and to classify common parasites according to their taxonomic classification. So, I made this uh, diagram. So, yung eukaryota is the domain. So, eukaryotes constitute the domain eukaryota. These organisms uh, have nucleus in the plasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus. They can be multicellular or unicellular. So, dito sa topic natin ngayon, so madidivide siya into two kingdoms, the kingdom protozoa and the kingdom animalia. So, protozoa naman is divided into three phylum. Phylum Sarcomastigophora, phylum Apicomplexa, and phylum Ciliophora, which further divides into a different class or subphylum. So yung Sarcomastigophora will be divided into uh, subphylum Sarcodina and subphylum Mastigophora. Yung sa Apicoplexa, it will be divided into Coccidia and Hemosporidia. Sa Kingdom Animalia naman, will be divided into phylum Nematoda, phylum Platyhelminthes, and phylum Arthropoda. So, start muna tayo sa protozoa. So, protozoan parasites contains nucleus, cytoplasm, and an outing-limiting membrane and organelles. So, majority of the protozoans require a wet environment for production and locomotion and feeding. So, in this example, it is an intestinal protozoa. So, the cyst is the infective stage, whereas the trophozoite is the active reproduction stage, which can be destroyed by the stomach acid. So, we will discuss the three phylum. The phylum Sarcomastigophora, phylum Ciliophora, and phylum Apicomplexa. So, yung una is yung phylum Sarcomastigophora, which is divided into two subphylum. The subphylum Mastigophora and phylum Sarcodina. So, sa subphylum Mastigophora, ang main locomotory apparatus is the flagella. And ito yung mga examples niya. The Giardia, Chylomastic, Trichomonas, Diantamoeba, Trypanosoma, and Leishmania. And sa subphylum Sarcodina, ang main locomotory apparatus niya is the pseudopodia. So, ang example niya is Entamoeba, Endolimax, Iodamoeba, Acanthamoeba, and Naegleria. So, remember, pag flagella, ang structure niya, it is like a whip-like structure arising from the ectoplasm. And the pseudopodia, it looks like a hyaline foot-like extrusion. Okay? So, ito yung sa Mastigophora. So, ito yung example ng cyst ng Giardia and yung trophozoite ng Giardia. So, it is the causative agent of Giardiasis or the traveler's diarrhea, and the infection is due to exposure to contaminated water. So, ito naman yung sa Sarcodina. So, ito yung example ng cyst ng Entamoeba and yung trophozoite ng Entamoeba. And ito yung Acanthamoeba and Naegleria. So, Entamoeba histolytica, it is the causative agent of amoebic colitis, can cause extraintestinal amoebiasis. So, they are morphologically similar to Entamoeba dispar, and they can be differentiated by immunologic assay. Yung Naegleria species naman, or Naegleria fowleri, can cause primary amoebic meningoencephalitis, and yung Acanthamoeba can cause amoebic keratitis. So, pahapyaw lang yan. They are discussed in a different lecture. Okay? So, ito yung difference ng ng trophocyte and cyst between different protozoans. Okay? So, next is yung phylum Ciliophora. So, ang main locomotory apparatus niya is the cilia, and the species is yung Balantidium coli. So, ito yung example niya. So, kung makapapansin nyo, yung protrusions niya, yung external structure niya, so meron presence of cilia or hair-like projections. So, yung Balantidium coli is the only species pathogenic for humans. It is the causative agent of balantidiasis. So, the transmission of the infective cyst is through contaminated water or food. So, ito yung cyst that is stained with matoxylin stain. Okay? So, next is yung phylum Apicomplexa. So, is divided into subclass Coccidia. Yung usual habitat niya is intestinal, and yung special features niya is presence of apical complex with conoid. So, ang example niya is Cyclospora, Cryptosporidium, and Toxoplasma. Yung order Hemosporidia, ang habitat niya is intra-erythrocytic or within the red blood cells, and yung sorry for the typographical yung special features niya is meron siyang apical complex without conoid. Okay? So, yung example niya is Plasmodium and Babesia. So, ito yung mga trophozoite forms nila, mga ring forms. Okay? So, next is yung nematodes. So, they are known as roundworms. Ang general morphology nila is they are elongated, cylindrical, bilateral symmetry with complete digestive tract and muscular pharynx. Yung other features niya, they can have ampedes or sensory organ in the anterior portion, phasmids, which meron siyang sensory organ in the posterior portion. So yung aphasmid group is yung Trichuris, Trichinella, and Capillaria. So they can be classified based on their habitat. So yung small intestines, makikita natin yung Ascaris, Strongyloides, hookworm, Capillaria. Sa colon, ang makikita natin dito is Enterobius and Trichuris. Sa lymph nodes or lymph vessels is Wuchereria and Bugia. Sa eye and meninges is Angiostrongylos, and sa muscles is yung Trichinella. Okay? So, ito yung mga nakikita natin sa small intestine, Ascaris, hookworm, Capillaria, and Strongyloides. Okay, ito naman sa colon, Enterobius and Trichuris. Or they can be classified based on their mode of transmission. So, ingestion ng embryonated egg, yung Ascaris, Trichuris, and Enterobius. Sa skin penetration can be hookworm or Strongyloides, or through vector, Wuchereria and Bugia. Ingestion of larvae, Scapillaria and Trichinella, or inhalation of eggs is Enterobius and Ascaris. So, next natin is yung phylum Platyhelminthes or yung flatworms, which is divided into two subphylum, the cestodes and the trematodes. So the cestodes, known as the tapeworms, they are dorsoventrally flat, and they are segmented with ribbon-like appearance, and they do not have internal digestive tract, and they are hermaphroditic. They are found in the intestine of the definitive host, and the larval stage is encysted in the tissues of the intermediate host. They absorb their nutrients from the gut contents of the host directly through their outside surface the tegument. Okay, so meron tayong three basic parts ng cestodes. So, yung scolex, which is the main organ of attachment of worm to the definitive host, the neck, the region of growth and start of segmentation, and the proglottid. So, divided into immature and mature and gravid proglottid. Okay? So, yung mga tapeworms, they are further divided into two orders siya, the Pseudophilidea and Cyclophilidea. So, yung Pseudophilidea, ang example nito is yung Diphyllobotrium, Cyclophilidea is yung Tinea. So, ang difference lang nila, itong table na to yung nagpapakita lang ng difference. So, ang Pseudophilidea has uterine core. So, it allows release of eggs from the gravid uterus. And sa usually diagnostics, eggs are recovered and they required two intermediate hosts. Sa Cyclophilidea, so wala siyang uterine core. So they undergo apolysis whereby gravid segments are detached from the body and the eggs are released. So sa lab, yung diagnostic test natin, pwede tayo makarecover ng egg and yung proglottid, mga segments. And usually they require one intermediate host. Okay, so here is a picture of Diphyllobotrium. So this parasite is an example of Pseudophilidea worm that requires two intermediate hosts. So the infection is acquired by eating raw or undercooked fish containing pleurocercoid and can cause vitamin B12 deficiency. So sa peripheral blood smear, pwede tayo makakita ng macrocytic anemia. So here is a example of Cyclophilidea. So, Tinea. So, next is yung trematodes or flukeworm. So, general morphology niya, they are dorsoventrally flat, bilateral symmetry, and unsegmented. And katulad ng they are hermaphroditic and no internal digestive tract. So, ito yung mga examples nila: Schistosoma, Fasciola, Clonorchis, Opistorchis, Echinostoma, Paragonimus, and Physiolopsis. So usually, sabi ko nga kanina, itong mga to, kailangan din nila ng two intermediate hosts. Usually, yung first intermediate host is the snail, and yung second intermediate host is another snail, or can be fish, or crustacean, or water plants. So they can be classified based on their location. So they can be found on the mesenteric veins, liver parenchyma, lung parenchyma, or intestinal sa intestine. So ang example ng makikita natin sa liver parenchyma is yung fasciola. So they are humans can acquire infection by ingesting metacercaria in water plants, and the egg contains operculum. So they can this topic will be discussed in detail in further lectures. Next issue na makikita pa natin sa liver parenchyma is the clonorchis. So the egg has a small knob, okay, opposite on the operculum. So ito yung operculum, ito yung knob na. So they can be acquired by eating undercooked fish. So sa intestinal flukes, so nandito yung Physiolopsis musci. So they are large, oblong, and echinostoma. Okay? So yung mga blood flukes, so ito yung schistosoma. So ito yung schistosoma mansoni. So makikita natin may large lateral spine. Sa hematobium is yung large terminal spine. Ito yung japonicum. So meron siyang conspicuous lateral spine or knob. So sa lung parenchyma, so this is the Paragonimus westermani or the oriental lung fluke. Okay? So here is another picture of the different fluke worms. Okay. So lastly, arthropods. So general characteristics, they are symmetrical with jointed appendages. Their body is covered with chitinous exoskeleton. So they are furtherly divided into insecta or arachnida. So they affect human health and become biological vectors to some disease agents. They can cause uh, dermatologic manifestations due to prolonged contact and can cause infestation and invasion of human tissues. Okay? So, in summary, ayan, uh, remember, yung domain natin is eukaryota. They can be unicellular or multicellular and divided into two kingdoms, the kingdom protozoa and kingdom animalia. So remember, yung mastigophora, ang main locomotory apparatus niya is flagella and yung sarcodina is pseudopodia. And yung sa Ciliophora is cilia. Okay? Tapos yung apicomplexa, so yung location or yung habitat ng coccidia is makikita natin sa intestines and yung hemosporidia is intraerythrocytic or sa blood, within the blood cells or red blood cells. So sa kingdom animalia naman, so nandito yung mga nematodes. Remember, they are symmetrical and they are classified based on their mode of transmission or habitat. Sa phylum Platyhelminthes naman, is divided into cestodes and trematodes. Okay, and lastly, yung arthropods is divided into insecta and arachnida. Okay, so that's all. Sana may natutunan kayo. Thank you.